Practice smart so you could play loose.
There we go.
Boom.
I like it. All right, next one. That's a good one-liner right there.
Sums it up at the bar.
That's going on an Instagram clip somewhere right there. All right, guys. As I just told you before the break, it's time to be real. Let's be honest. I think it's what we're calling this segment. So hopefully we'll have Kyle back if he's willing to come back on the show again. We'll probably do this this segment multiple times. But let's be honest. So we're just gonna rapid fire, see how it goes, and we're gonna start with kind of a this or that theme here. And dude, the first one is. Would you rather have, if you had to choose, okay, this or that, would you rather have a player that plays free or plays smart?
Play free, no question.
Okay, wow.
I feel like most players, I mean, it depends on the level, obviously, but you can know the game inside and out, right?
So we're talking about the high school to collegiate level, I would say, right?
Yeah. Okay. So even at that level, assuming most players play some sort of in-house or little league, even if not, you know the game, generally speaking, pretty well enough that you made the team, that you're on the team, you're playing. If you're not playing loose, you'll press and you'll overthink. Yeah. And any of you listening that know the game, as soon as you think, sometimes you lose right away. So you really got to just trust your work, your instincts, and just have fun and just take risks, right? Like, so much of this game is tough. And if you're just playing, I don't want to say you can't be like silly about it. But like if you're the games that I've played loose and I'm having fun, those are the games that I perform.
I'm with you.
The ones where I'm just thinking, okay, this is what I got to do. I got to be perfect here. I got to do this. I got to go 4 for 4 this game. Like, usually ends up with an over.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You got a goose egg right there.
Yeah.
I'm with you, bro. I'm thinking, I value, as a coach, I value high IQ players.
Oh yeah.
And because it's something that it is. How do I put this? I'm almost not answering the question. I believe in playing free first. Okay. I would rather that over playing smart. But here's my undertone to that, my coaching hat on real quick.
Yeah.
In practice, it's about IQ for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get our reps, we get our drills in, but that is my best opportunity to coach you up.
Yeah.
In the game, I want you to play.
Right.
In practice, we're dialed in, and I'm trying to build up that IQ, build up the smarts, so that it's easier to play free.
Yeah.
Right, because when you're hesitant and when you don't know what to do or you feel uncomfortable, well, you're definitely not going to play free. So first of all, you don't know what you're doing because you don't have the IQ, and you're not going to play free. Now you're pressing. Mm-hmm. Now you look bad. So, right.
Practice smart so you could play loose.
There we go.
Boom.
I like it. All right, next one. That's a good one-liner right there.
Sums it up at the bar.
That's going on an Instagram clip somewhere right there. All right, defense or offense? Listen, man, you gotta be able to score at least one to win games. But I'm still team defense because if especially with our game, in the game of basketball, you're not gonna shut a team out. That doesn't exist. Unless you're just significantly better than the other team on the football field, it's hard to shut a team out in football as well.
Right.
They at least should get a field goal. You know what I mean? So baseball, though, softball, you can have goose eggs.
Absolutely.
And if you've got a sound defense, I mean, my gosh, watch the World Series from this past year where you've got guys on first and second, nobody out, and they don't scratch and run home.
No, the defense was incredible this postseason.
Freaking real.
I mean, I don't remember it being that good in previous years. It was fun to watch on both sides of the ball.
Dude, I swear, there were innings where I'm like, oh, yeah, they're about to unload for 3 or 4 runs.
Yep.
And they get nothing. Maybe one at best.
You're seeing web jam after web jam. Just
crazy.
They get out of the inning, and you're just like, how?
You talk about reps. You talk about reps a couple segments ago, man. The glove work from middle infielders.
I got a lot of respect for infielders, man. Even on our summer team, man. I'm just like, man, that's impressive.
The quick hands.
That's why they put me in the outfield.
Same. I'm on the bump up high, so I can be a little taller than everybody else. or I'm out in the outfield
Too
where I
many
can just use
between
my
the
speed.
wickets, man.
That's it. But dude, and I'm a lefty, so I'm not really welcomed on the left side of the
Oh,
field anyway.
yeah.
So it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, all right, your defense or offense? What you got?
Oof. It's a tough one, but I mean, hey, look at us. I mean, we're 5'10", 11,
Yep.
ish.
I'm 5'8" here.
We're not real like these massive power hitting dudes. So I'm going defense.
Yeah.
I mean, I pride myself on defense. If nothing fires up a pitcher or team more than making a diving catch or a huge throw with the game on the line, like. Robbing a home run every player's dream.
Dude, I'm like, try me.
Oh man,
that's always my mentality in the outfield. Try me, please run.
You always have at least 3-4 players in the lineup that have great days at the plate, and maybe a home run, 2 home runs if they're lucky. And,
this guy here,
yeah.
this guy
if they're lucky, and you got the guys that have to make the outs.
Yeah,
somebody's got to make the outs, and you can carry that. Just that sadness, or not sadness, but like just discouragement into the field, and it can really affect your defense.
Yeah.
And for the players that really can turn the page and not let it carry or translate into their defense, and they can make a play out there, it just speaks to the mental toughness. So you're saying as like you coach, right? And so like if you see a player dragging their head and they're over 3 at the plate and they're just out there kicking grass or whatever, that's a red flag, right?
It is.
And that's something that scouts and coaches see like easily, right?
And because somehow there's a magnet in the ball and it's going to find them, right?
Always, it'll
Every
find
time.
you. It'll find you. So yeah, if you don't, I pride myself on defense honestly, because I've had many games, more games than I got multi hits for sure. That I had a sombrero on, or maybe sometimes it was golden, and I just had to I had to lean. I had no choice. I had to lean into the defense and just be ready.
Yeah,
and it really inspires like everybody around you when you don't let your offense bring down your defense. So
I think that and I'm not taking anything away from the skills that are required to play defense, especially that I talk in the middle infield, but I 100% believe that defense is about effort. And offense, it's really hard to hit a round ball with a round bat coming at you with spin and all that jazz. But defensively, not that it's easy by any means, because the spectacular plays have to be made by guys and gals who are just really good. But seeing a crappy defender is hard as a coach, right? And the one thing that I would always, after we had a great offensive inning, if we're on the field and I'm coaching, I'm like, listen, that's great. I'm glad we did it.
3 up, 3 down.
But the best way to make this count is to go make sure that they have a goose egg, right? You give them no hope by going out.
Back.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Zero momentum. Don't give free bases. Don't walk anybody. Like, let's make sure that we hold serve and win this inning by the amount that we scored prior.
And you made a good point, like about how hard it is, and quite frankly, we've had this debate. I'm sure multiple times in our lives, and everybody has like, what's the hardest thing in sports? I think it's to hit a major league fastball, or curveball. It's hard to get hits, right? So to an extent, you could trust your muscle memory and all the work put into like get a hit and be ready for pitch recognition, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you're still failing 7 out of 10 times mostly.
Yep.
If you are, you're a Hall of Famer, in that clip. But in that regard, defense is a little bit more controllable.
Yep.
You can control your in between pitch routine, your preparation, your mindset. You can think in between pitches where you got to go. Okay, what happens if the ball's hit me?
Right.
Where am I going? So a little bit more time to think versus just reacting to a pitch, you know, and trying to square it up.
Well, like you said, a guy bat 300 is probably in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
The best defenders, 900 plus fielding percentage.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that tells you right there. It's not even, you should have 3 times the fielding percentage as your batting average.
Yes.
At least.
And that's routine, but also making the non-routine plays.
Yeah, go get him. Be like this guy. So I know he wanted to, talk about my rubber arm. This guy's, daggum Willie Mays, whatever you want to call him out there, man. Just there is no, there may be grass out there, but it's not going to hit it. Okay, so just understand, if Kyle Frye is in your center field,
Have a
which
magnet
nobody
in my
else in the
glove.
league can have him. He belonged to the Brewers. Dude, it's so special to watch, man, because like you said, I loved it to be able to run up to the plate, man, and root on a guy that just dropped a bomb. That's awesome. But the level of excitement and energy I have from watching you, man, you made multiple diving plays this summer, man, and it's like, hell yes.
There's nothing more fun,
especially
man.
when I'm on the bump. I'm like, dude, that's a base hit.
There's nothing better than just getting mauled by your teammates. They honestly, like, that's the other thing too, is like players and pitchers, like alike, coaches, they get more fired up about good defense.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, because they see a lot of home runs, they see a lot of good hitters,
Mhm.
and like not every player can play a certain level of defense, you know.
Yep.
So that's definitely the moment that makes you feel like you did
Absolutely.
something real special.
And as a pitcher, man, I'm so grateful for it, right? And knowing that, like, listen, I want to win this battle with the batter, but I can't. I know I'm not going to be able to strike him out.
Right.
It's about, like, you understand that certain guys that come up to the plate, they're contact hitting machines.
Yeah.
So can I do enough
Yep.
to give my defense a shot?
Yep.
And sometimes you don't do enough to give your defense a shot, but then your defense just comes out of nowhere, and they're tracking a ball down that they had to run freaking a marathon for.
Yeah.
And they're making a play. They're saving a game. They're saving an extra base hit.
Yeah.
Right. So that's big. All right. So team defense. That's very clear. Let us know, guys. Are you team defense or team offense? Because honestly, it is a debate that people like to have. I feel like I always win the debate when you're on team offense, but I want to know. I want to know what people think on that front. Okay. Next one. Which this is interesting. I'm gonna let you go first because I really don't know my answer to this.
Okay.
Maybe you'll help influence it. But
I'll tee it up for you.
Effort or results?
All right, I'm going to go effort over results always.
Okay.
And here's why. So if your effort, passion, and commitment are in the right place, the results are going to come. Okay.
Fair.
So, the moment you fixate on a specific outcome in baseball or softball, especially in the box, most time you already lost. Like, so if you're already like thinking one way, like, oh, like I haven't had success off of this pitcher.
Yeah.
Right. Then you've kind of already met your match a
That's
little
fair.
bit. You know what I mean? So it's always going to be effort for me because, if you got a player out there from a coach's perspective too, put it this way. Like if you have a player out there that knows their poop don't stink, right? And they're just like carrying themselves like they're the best thing since sliced bread out there.
Sure.
But they have a bad day at the plate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you can see in their demeanor, they're just not carrying themselves like with maximum effort. But then you got a player over here, player B, who's busting their tail. They're running the bases. They're stealing bases. They're always in between pitches, like, moving around, talking to their players, telling people situations. That's effort. And I think effort is one of those things that you really can't teach. Like you can encourage, but the player has to want it.
I feel that. Yeah. Okay. All right. I gotta agree with you. That's hard to go the other way. The reason I was like a little bit conflicted because when I look at those words and like the easy answer for me personally in life in general is effort.
Yeah.
But then I'm like I'm wrestling with it, and as I'm talking to it now, I'm still wrestling with it. But I'm like, as a coach, I've had 15 players show up to a tournament before, and I know I can only put 9 on the field. There have been times where 1 or 2 of the 6 that are on the bench have given more effort in cases, but I'm still not sure about the result, like that they're going to produce, right? And so maybe when I look at this and I go effort or results, I'm thinking more about production.
Yeah.
In that sense. And in that sense, I got to go with results. But in terms of the way that you framed that, it's hard to argue against the effort part of it because I believe in that in my heart of hearts from life. And so there's a lot of life lessons that this game has taught me, but there's also a lot of life that I apply to this game.
Right.
And effort's one of those. So I would say.
And I feel like too that's you're giving really good perspective from both sides, from a player perspective and your coaching experience, lens, seeing it through that lens. And in that regard, results absolutely matter, right? Like in anything that you do, as you get older and work and, in sport, the players that hang around the league for 20 or 15, 20 years, I mean, they're not there because of effort. They're there because the results have been sustainable.
Sure.
Because of all the hard work they put in to be masters of their craft. So results are definitely important.
100%.
But from like a player thought process perspective,
yeah,
effort for sure. Because again, like the example I give, it's like if you're thinking about the results or you're just worried about the results,
yes,
those sometimes you can't control.
Yep.
Effort you can control. So I think different ways of looking at that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I like that. So okay, so this question then the last of this or that is kind of one and the same to this one. It's attitude or ability.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if we're just talking about from the high school and collegiate level standpoint of athletes here, I gotta lean attitude because listen, man, I can tell you that a bad apple mentally can ruin a dugout.
Absolutely.
Right, absolutely ruin it. And so I've seen it as a player at times, even as a coach at times, where if you don't rein it in and you allow it to fester as a coach and you don't bring that player in, then it's going to bleed onto other folks, right? And so I believe in good attitudes because our job as a coach is to help your ability, right, and help it be better. But there's times where you fall short.
Mm-hmm.
A quality attitude is still going to be able to help you, lift you up, and be able to allow you to stick and stay, really, when the grind is tough there, if the attitude's there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going attitude on this one.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. It's cliche, but attitude's everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially for younger players, like trying to get recognized. Like if you already have some sort of ability, you're fortunate enough to have the attention of coaches and scouts. Like at that point, you just got to go. If you're pressing or overthinking, right? Thinking about the results, you're not going to do well anyway. So you're really just rolling it out there and trusting your ability. So at that point, you just need to think less about that, and you need to worry about like your attitude, like what you're doing, like how you're carrying yourself. I can't tell you how many times, when I was, going to combines throughout college, and they were telling me like, coaches were saying, "Hey, man, they're watching you in between everything. How you're treating your teammates. Are you coachable, right?
Yep.
Like those are the things that if you don't have them, you can have all the ability in the world, and they're not going to want you. Because like you said, a bad apple can really make the whole operation flawed. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, you just made me think about this. The number of coaches, collegiate coaches that I connected with over the years, helping my girls get to the next level. I can't tell you the amount of times I heard a college coach just having conversation or even just watching them on the field. And the consensus that I gather is that a lot of coaches, man, if they know they see the way you carry yourself, right? And they've maybe seen some videos, so they can kind of gather that you're good.
Right.
If they show up, sometimes they really want to see you on your 0 for 3 kind of day.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Because on your 0 for 3 day, that shows what is your demeanor when you walk back to the dugout after a backwards K that you thought was not a strike.
Right. Throwing a temper tantrum.
Yeah. A ball up, you got a foul ball pop out with 2 outs, bases loaded.
Tough.
Right? That's tough, right?
That's tough.
What do you look like when you go jog back on the field? Are you jogging back on the field? Are you the last one out of the dugout?
Right.
Right? Maybe if you're a catcher, you should be. But aside from that, like, are you moping back onto the field, right? Yeah. What does that person look like for our dugout and our program? And so for the younger players, again, that are listening, like middle school, high school, even the collegiate guys and gals, like, listen, that first impression is a big deal.
It's everything.
And, again, as we just said, 7 out of 10 times at the plate, you're going to fail. Right, in a sense. So the likelihood that your first impression at the plate may not be a good one for a collegiate coach or a major league scout is pretty high. What does your attitude look like? What does your demeanor
How
look
you
like in
handle
that
failure,
sense?
man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in life too. That's a huge life lesson.
It's part of it.
Like you gotta bounce back.
Yep.
You gotta carry yourself onward, and you can't sulk in defeat. You gotta carry yourself.
Yep.
You know.
Go get it done. So, all right. So the next part of this, let's be honest, segment is to finish the sentence.
Sweet.
Okay. So I'll let you go first on this one. So the first one is the easiest way to stand out is.
I'm gonna say putting in extra work.
Okay.
So that tends to change things. So if you don't like the results, then keep grinding, because I definitely felt like, that was one thing coaches noticed was my work ethic. Again, being smart and intentional with your repetition. So I don't want to contradict my earlier take, but it's something that I know that it's a good reference to the topic we just talked about, effort or results. It's, when you fail, what are you going to do about it? Right? Like, are you going to just pout and mope and feel sorry for yourself? Or are you going to get back in the lab and start working?
Fair.
And so that's kind of, that was my way. And I had a couple of assistant coaches in college, because I had a rough stretch of games after starting off like fire hot, right? And I had a couple overs and I got benched. And so, instead of getting mad about it, I was a good teammate. I was rooting on the guy that went in for me, even though I wanted to be in his place, right? And I was in his place. But I just went in and I just worked. I just worked hard, took more reps. And a couple of coaches came in after hours and just caught a glimpse of me working, and they noticed me. And then the next day, that guy that filled in for me was doing admirably.
Yeah.
But I was thrown back into the mix, and I'm just like, I don't know if that was planned.
Yeah.
Maybe
it wasn't a coincidence that, you know what I mean?
Like this guy's hungry. This guy wants it, and he deserves his chance again. So.
Well, I love that you said you were still rooting on the guy that went in, because that's my take on this one. Is, to me, one of the easiest ways to stand out is to love on your teammates.
Yeah.
And that's, and it's got to be genuine though, right? I don't want to hear bull crap, right? I want to like, if a guy does something great, like, dude, give him his love, man, because I think it's you can take the toughest guy or girl on a team that maybe says they don't need that. Dude, there's something in all of us where if we're being cheered for and we're being loved on from the guy or girl that we're playing next to, that's got to feel a little bit good at the very least.
And it's contagious.
Yeah.
Right? Like, everybody, you start to see how everybody's a little bit more in it for each other.
Exactly.
Not just yourself.
Yeah. So dude, and like this summer, dude, I loved when our dugouts were full, like with 18 to 20 guys in it, because you get something rocking, something happens, anything happens. It's like it's a roar from inside the dugout, and it's just a
lot of chirping.
It's just a lot of chirping. It's a great vibe.
It's a fun time, yeah.
All right, next one, I'll kick this one off, is the fastest way to lose trust. Man, I thought about this one earlier as well, and for me, it would be specifically on the defensive side, and I'm saying this from experience, with a player or two over the years, is to just be lackluster in your effort. And it's so funny that I struggled with effort over results, and here I am saying that, right? But like, I had one moment, man, where, and this young lady, she's a gem of an adult now, and we still connect, but in her early years, she had a moment, man. We're at a tournament over in Myrtle Beach. It's our end of season World Series, and she's not wanting to play the position she was put in. Okay. Which was, for me as a player, I could not fathom that, because I'm like, dude, I'm one of the 9 on the field. Like, I don't care where you put me, if I can play it, like, let's go. And she was more than capable, right, of playing the position. And ground balls hit to her at second base, and she gives no effort towards the ball. Right? Ball kicks off her glove, doesn't go all the way into right field to where the right fielder should be getting it. It kind of kicks off into foul territory where she should get it.
Still her ball.
She didn't give an effort. Right fielder has to like dig it to go get the ball. Mind you, the girl that hit the ball should have been a routine out. she's standing on second base, right?
Extra base.
I lose my stuff.
That extra base.
I lose my stuff because now we don't have a force out, right? I mean, you can talk about all the stuff about the game that sets up. You don't have a force out. You got to run on second base. There's more pressure now. A bunt can get over to third. All that, yes, that exists.
Yeah.
But there's just a simple fact that you didn't give what you could have given there, and now you're not only making yourself look bad, you're screwing your teammates.
That's kind of selfish too.
It is
a selfish posture. But
so I would say for me that's the quickest way to lose some trust from me. As a coach and as a teammate, like if you're not gonna go in and just give it what you got that day, and again I know like even now, like we play summer league adult baseball, right? Mm-hmm. We have long days at work. We have things, outside factors that may contribute to our ability that day.
Yeah.
But even now, like as a 30-year-old guy playing rec league ball, like I expect you guys to expect me to go out and give what I got that day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not saying we got to put real life aside.
Right.
But if you put me on the field, you're expecting me to go out and give my all.
Yeah.
And if my all is 90% of me that day or 80% of me that day, then I'm going to give you that.
100%.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for me, the fastest way, and I put my D Woods coach hat on for this one, not executing on the little things and not just certain little things, I'm talking about the mental mistakes that you're in control of, right? So I'm talking about plate discipline, your in-between pitch routine, your approach. When those slip, it directly correlates to on-field failure and the quickest way to lose trust.
That's heavy.
Coaches.
Dude, that's heavy. Dude, the approach, man. Like I don't that word right there. If you can, quick coaching moment, I guess. If your approach is not where it needs to be, then you can't be in the lineup.
Yeah. Right.
Because you're, in the immediate sense, your approach doesn't start when you step in the box. Like it starts when you're in the hole, right? And then on deck. And there's a progression that comes with that. And so, I don't want to get on that soapbox right now, but like that's big. Okay. Yeah. Last one to finish the sentences here is the best role players are.
It's gonna be the bench mob.
Ooh, okay.
They're okay. Listen, they're not in the lineup every day, but they stay ready, and when their number's called, they perform. Nothing gets you more riled up than that. But more so, those are the guys and girls the ones that are in the dugout, and you mentioned this earlier, the ones that are supporting you, even though they want to be in your spot. To anyone that is playing, I don't know about you, but there's nothing more motivating to me and makes me feel better than when we have a bunch of selfless guys and girls in the dugout.
Yeah.
That I know they want to be in my spot, and I'm fortunate enough to be playing, but they're still rooting me on nonetheless, and I can see that they're genuinely happy for me, and just what that does to the team dynamic, or the team dynamic rather. So those players are honestly the role players for me, because and if you look at like the playoffs, the MLB playoffs we just last season, certain hitters are coming off the bench in the ninth inning on closers throwing 104 and getting clutch knocks, and it's just
cold.
And you see nobody happier than the Shoheis and the players that were subbed out because of situations, and Shohei's never subbed out.
Sure.
It's a bad example, but like somebody else.
Yeah.
And so it's like those are the real difference makers.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a lot of those on the Brewers, and that's why it's just crazy.
Well, tell me about it, man. And that's our Brewers team this summer is like the perfect indicator of what I'm about to say. And I think the best role players are willing to add value in other ways, right?
Yeah,
yes, they're cheerleading, they're supporting. But man, there were countless times where, I was that role player at times, depending on the game or whatever. But we had some guys on our summer league team this year that they're consistently in that role, right? Where that maybe they're coaching a bag, or maybe they're only getting one at bat a game, or whatever the case may be, right? But me coming off the field, it's like, hey D, and not in a bad way, why don't you try this?
Mm-hmm.
Or D, what are your thoughts on this, right? And it's not like they're putting you down. It's lifting you up. It's making you think about things in a different way.
Constructive criticism,
dude. And let me tell you, man, you have a squad with that kind of chemistry that you've got the starters A being willing to listen, and B the role player saying, hey, I'm willing to, although I want to be you right now in terms of being in that position.
Yeah.
Though I'm not, I'm still willing to watch your at bat. I'm still willing to watch you on defense
to help you
and to add value for the betterment of the squad.
Yeah.
Right. That's where I know we talked about other sports being team sports, but the mental side of it, right, for baseball is so mission critical. And so when those role players, man, are saying, hey, regardless of where I fit in terms of the lineup or the defensive alignment, I'm here and I'm going to be an extension of our coaching staff, and that's all I need to be today.
Oh, yeah, that hits.
Yeah,
that's a great.
And the Brewers were that, dude. Yeah. It was so much fun being a part
of that group of guys, those Brewers, huh?
Dude. Amen to that. All right, dude. So we got 3 more of these before we wrap up this segment. So this one's it's called Call It. All right.
Okay.
I just made this up in the shower, by the way. I was telling Kyle this in the
little notepad
in the break. That's right. So all right. So Call It. Is it me first or you first? I think it's me first.
Okay.
All right. So that's not favorite. This is the first one. That's not favoritism. That's blank. Whew. Okay. So this one's interesting. I'm sure just hear where you'll go with this. I'm gonna stay with my coaching thought process.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say that's not favoritism. That's understanding what someone means to a team. Okay, I know that's maybe not just one word. I was thinking one word when I put this together, but here's what I mean by that. Okay, so I think maybe once or twice over my years of coaching, I kind of got accused of playing favorites, right? And maybe it was a disgruntled parent or whatever. And my response typically to that, or to that thought rather, is there are certain players that I as a coach are going to trust 75% of them over 100% of someone else.
Yeah.
In a moment.
Yeah.
Maybe not all day, but in a setting.
Right.
Right. Or in a clutch situation. And so that's where I'll just leave it at that for now. I don't want to get too long-winded on that, but I think that's where I would go with that. It's just, when you think about favoritism and because I've really seen the favoritism thing be real in different settings, and it's not healthy and it's not good for culture.
Right.
But if you really understand and you peel back the layers from some coaches or even players or whatever the setting is, you understand, maybe it's not favoritism. Maybe it's, whatever the case may be. But what you got?
So mine, again, more from a player's perspective when I approach this one. That's not favoritism. That's the coach just trusts that player more, right? And that's okay.
Yeah.
So like if I'm a player and I'm like, oh, he favorites that player, you know, and that angers me because I'm not playing and I think I should be playing, but that player's playing. Well, instead of having that mentality, just study what that player does well and apply it to your own game.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Like, so instead of getting worked up about it, just get better and just and embody what they're doing. What is it they do or they possess, a skill they possess, or over the body of their work? Is it consistency? Is it the in between pitches, the things that we can control that maybe we weren't controlling before?
Fair.
That you just don't think about? It's easy to lose sight of those things. You never know. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And I also like that you're thinking about this from a player's perspective, because a lot of my recent thoughts come from a coaching perspective too. So this is
trying to give you
this is good back and forth right here. I like it. All right. So I'll let you tee this one off. So that's not a slump. That's
something every player goes through.
Okay.
So you'll get out of it.
Yeah.
It's easy to fall into the trap like I'll never get. I had myself a nice one midsummer,
Sure.
and in those moments I was getting frustrated, not letting it translate over to defense, but it's so easy to get discouraged, honestly, amidst a slump, and it can really overhaul your thinking. You can overthink, you can
Yeah.
overcorrect yourself, and like we said earlier, this is a game where those that fail 70% of the time are Hall of Famers, right?
Yeah.
So you go through a little mini slump, you still dig out of it, and don't get caught up in your stats, right? Like that's another thing. Like if you're hitting 500 early in the year, minimal at bats, and then you go through a couple, like a game or two with no hits, and you drop down to 100, 200, you're going to be like, oh man, I got to like get a hit every time. Like,
Yeah.
it's a slump. You'll get through it. Every single player goes through them. So, yeah.
We kind of hit our wall similar at the same time of the season. I from what I remember, because I remember jogging out to the outfield with you a couple of times, and we were just kind of giving each other some words of encouragement.
Really hard too.
Yeah, that's right.
Dang.
Yeah. So and I just remember, man, it was like it was so weird for me. Like it was like, of course, there's about 3 or 4 games where I wasn't even touching the ball. Like for a couple of at bats, and I'm like, man, what the heck? Like what's going on? So it's something that everybody goes through. Here's the thing. I am not a strong believer in that word slump. I think that only because I think that there's some small course corrections that can be made to get you out of that quote unquote slump. And so when a player says, "Oh man, I'm 0 for 5," to me that's not a slump. 0 for 20, 0 for 25, maybe that's a slump, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe not maybe, but I would say maybe that's a slump there for sure, though.
Right.
If you've gone 0 for a couple of games, you never know what could happen in game 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that I've over the years, I think I've tricked myself as a coach into believing that slumps don't exist, because I've watched players go up and down at times,
mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's another factor. Your swing may be what it is. You may be doing just fine, but maybe you're not seeing the spin as well right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really looked at it from the perspective of like a slump being something that could only take place over the course of a couple of games. Like it really needs to be an elongated stretch, and hopefully during that stretch you're making some proper adjustments, maybe cage work, on field BP, whatever the case may be, to be able to make those adjustments there. With a slump. So that's what I'll say on that front. All right. So last one of these here before we get to our last question on this segment. And that one is, that's not bad coaching. That's blank. Is it you? Yeah.
I think it was. I don't remember, but I'll go. So it's just another human making a mistake. Coaches are just like players.
Yeah.
They aren't perfect. They're always doing their best to put us in the best possible positions, right?
Sure.
But even they make mistakes, and they're not going to get it right every time. So, yes, it's hard when you know that they didn't make the right decision.
Sure.
Hopefully, it doesn't cost you the game. Hopefully, it doesn't cost you a series or anything bigger. But sometimes it does, because we're all human at the end of the day, right? Like, and so again, I that's kind of the perspective I took with this one. Mm-hmm. Just like in terms of blame put on coaches and managers, like you see it all the time. Like I yell at the TV all the time when I feel like the Cubs pulled a pitcher that was doing well too early, or they don't pull him soon enough, or whatever. Like it's easy to point blame, but they're making the best possible decision with the information they got, with the feel that they have for the game in the moment, and they don't always get it right.
Yeah.
So
my thought on this was, and I know that we're in the analytics world, for sure, but I said that's a vibe. That's not bad coaching. That's a vibe. Okay. And what I mean by that is more sound like what you were going with that, of sometimes coaches just they make decisions based on intuition, or feel. And I'll never forget this. A college coach that I talked to early on in my travel ball coaching career when I was working with my players, and he said, as far as the pitching staff, he said, I don't know nothing about pitching. He said, I'll be honest with you, I know nothing about pitching. That's why I hired a pitching coach, and that's why I pay her to be the pitching coach. He said, but my job is, he said, the reason I have 8 to 10 pitchers on my pitching staff, which for softball, that's a lot, is to get her out of the game before she gets in trouble. And that stuck with me as a coach from then on and I didn't always do it, but I thought about it, that concept of you have to have that feeling. And like you said, yelling at the TV, yelling at the Cubbies, me religiously yelling at the Red Sox this year. It's like, why are we pulling Garrett Crochet out after 5? Like, let him go 7, please. We need this.
First of all, let him go 9.
You can go 9. Let him go 9, right? Like, but there are other thoughts that you're having right there as a coach, and sometimes it's postseason thoughts. Sometimes it's wear and tear. Sometimes it's a conversation that you've had with the guy in the clubhouse, the night before or the day of or whatever that we don't see on
behind
TV.
The scenes.
And that, as parents, maybe in the stands, you didn't know what practice looked like.
Right.
So you don't really know why. It looks bad because it doesn't make sense on the surface level, but underneath there may be some extenuating factors that contribute to that decision.
Absolutely.
So, that's my 2 cents.
That's a great take.
And moderately defending the coaches out there who sometimes get it wrong. So anyway, all right, last question of this segment, and that's in your opinion, okay? If players worked on one thing, they would be significantly better. What you got?
You're going to be better off. You're going to be really bored, all the listeners, with this answer. But I have to remind myself of this even more now.
If we say the same thing, I'm going to trip.
Than when I was younger, but it's definitely stretching. Man.
Okay. Fair.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. So,
yes, I believe in that.
Recently, especially, as you get into your, the older phases of your career, it sounds like a couple of old heads talking right now, but I'm telling you, if I would have taken more time and effort and concentrated more on flexibility and stretching when I was younger, then I would probably have to have less issues anyway to work out pre-game today. So it just makes everything. You see all these soft tissue injuries, right?
Yep.
It's a sport of stop and go. You could be on the bench for 8 innings and then come in and you're going from sitting to dead sprint.
Yep.
Right? Easy way to pull a hamstring.
Absolutely.
So it's not just stretching before the game and then all off season, but it's stretching during the game. The importance of that. It's a boring take, but let me tell you, man, it's one of those things that I tell you, it's even in the outfield sometimes when there might be a lull or you're going through a pitching change or God forbid somebody gets injured and you're just kind of taking a knee, you can get stiff if it's cold, you got to stay limber because then bang, boom, ball's hit into the gap, you're on a dead sprint. That's how quadricep.
You got to make a play.
You got to get there.
Absolutely. I agree, dude. Okay, no, definitely not a boring take, a valuable take. The question is, how many of our younger listeners will heed that advice?
Hey, I didn't, so don't do what I said.
And it's it's so crazy, right? Because as I've gotten into adulthood, and I will say that I'm not very prideful about much, but one thing I am prideful about is saying to myself is that the advice that I've gotten over the years from especially my parents, I'm not going to not do it, right? And I'm gonna for example, being a good steward of your finances. I want to make sure that I do not put our family in jeopardy by overspending or doing something ridiculous like that. That's a bigger life lesson, right?
Right.
And so because I've seen financial hardship before with families and whatnot, and I know what that looks like. And so I want to make sure that I'm not, doing that to my family, right? If I can help it, of course. And so, so that said, do yoga, Please, something.
Yeah.
Find yourself stretching on a mat, or even if it's just pregame, do it because I think it's valuable. All right, so mine is gosh, what was mine? Oh, T work. Okay, so
Ooh,
maybe this is
yeah.
boring as well,
Critical.
but I know there's a lot of my former players who hated T work, and yet we were still doing it because I find so much value in it. Obviously, I think it's something that you can do by yourself
Yep.
at any point in time. You can go find your net, find your cage, a bow net, something, and put up a tee, and you can just take hacks,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
But I think the tee can teach you so much, right? About your swing, about your stance, where you're connecting with the ball in your swing. Like you can really practice a lot of different little small things that go with it.
Yeah.
So I would say, grab the tee work in, guys. I know it for some of you out there. It's cold in your states. I know. Not everybody gets to live in Miami year round or anything like that.
Sounds good right
but
now.
it does. It sounds great. I'm sure it's like 85 and sunny there. But even with that being said, like if you can't maybe get to an indoor facility or something like that, grabbing the bow net and your tee, in my opinion, for 15 to 20, 30 minutes outside, it's worth being cold for that amount of time just to get the reps in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And stretch right after or before. So anyway, all right, guys, we're going to close out this segment and jump into our very last segment called Say It With Your Chest. And we'll have a little bit of MLB talk very briefly. And I know it's been a couple hours, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be right back.